Hello dear teachers, all the educators. I hope you have been having a lot of fun and enjoying all the topics that we have been discussing at Bala and Bala. And as promised, we are back with all new topics to discuss here. Very interesting topics, enthralling topics. Today's topic, I'm very sure all of you teachers are going to enjoy it. Have we marginalized faculty or teacher development in schools? As usual, I have two luminaries in education with me here today to discuss this topic. We have Bala sir, you might know him as Balaji as well. He's the former Director Academics of CBSE. So thank you so much for joining us. And we also have Big Brain. You all know him better as Big Brain, Giri Balasubramaniam, noted quiz master and alumni of Harvard Business School as well. Thank you so much for joining us. So personally, I find this topic extremely interesting because a lot of schools and institutions talk about training and development for teachers. But are we truly putting in a lot of thought into it? Are we putting in an effort into it in a way that it's helping the teachers? Or are we simply meeting the requirements? What are we doing? Let's start with the topic itself, sir. Have we marginalized faculty or teacher development in schools? Your opinion, sir.
Well, thank you, Rashmi. It's a very relevant topic and concurrent topic. To say that we have marginalized the teacher training may be an inappropriate statement because efforts have been made and are being made to train teachers from time to time. But then, are we doing the right thing in the right direction, which is productive, which is empowering, or are we just clicking one more program of training and filling up the data and statistics? That's a question that we need to address. Personally, left to me that with the dynamics of pedagogy, social dynamics, our teachers are getting absolutely irrelevant day in and day out. So, we need to put in place a continuous and sustainable training program over a period of time. And I really think that it is not a one-time activity. It is not an activity restrained to a couple of hours, but it's an ongoing activity. So, any teacher training program should not be a firefighting exercise so that immediately teachers are given and we fill the data. Teachers have to be integrated into the process of learning on a continuous basis, and we need the training institutions themselves to be raising their standards so that they can really give a platform for the teachers to have very modern, relevant, contextual curriculum and pedagogy so that they can transact with the children with a kind of aspirations they look forward to. I think therefore a relook into the teacher training methodologies and teacher training programs is absolutely necessary.
The keywords for me in this were relevant, contextual, and continuous development. I think that's extremely important. And of course, keeping all the stakeholders involved in it and not taking a unanimous decisions as far as training is concerned. Thank you, sir. Moving to you, Big Brain. Do you think there is a conscious effort to not facilitate the growth of teachers? I do feel bad asking this question, but this is something that is bothering all of us, so I really want to know what's your opinion.
It's a tough question. I would have been happier had you asked him the question and not me, given his vast experience. I don't think there is a conscious effort, but there is an unconscious effort where the focus can be better. For example, we have a student learning plan in schools. We have a future of the school that is normally mapped out by the management. We have an infrastructural growth plan that managements have in a school. Do you have a growth plan for the improvement of the teacher? Not at all schools. You would find it in a few schools which have a progressive mindset, which understands that if the teacher is not progressing with the child, the first person the child leaves behind is the teacher. Today, it could be a paradoxical analogy to give. Our children get promoted and go to the next class, but is the teacher getting promoted and going to the next class in terms of her learning ability or his learning ability? So, I think there is an unconscious undertone to it. I don't think consciously any school would say, I don't want my teachers to be better. I don't think so. I think all schools in their wisdom want their schools to be better. And if your teacher is better, your school is better. So I look at it a little differently, but there is a lot of desire to look and space for improvement.
All right. So the next question is for you. There are a lot of responsibilities that teachers have for themselves in the schools other than teaching alone or facilitating learning for students alone. Do you think all of these allocation of non-teaching responsibilities bogging down a teacher and getting their focus away from their core responsibility, that is teaching the children?
Well, as Giri pointed out to the previous question, I will say, yes, this is also a difficult question. When you look at the private schools, probably the one and the only business they have is that they come to the school, they teach, and then probably they get trained and they support and facilitate. But when it comes to government schools, a lot of ancillary and auxiliary support work are expected out of the teachers. For example, if you go into a rural municipal school, even identifying the children for increasing the number of students in the school, and then ensuring that they come to the school, and then supporting the midday meal scheme and other schemes over there, ensuring that they continuously come to the school and have attendance. Apart from that, a number of activities like you have a poll associated activity, you have what you call the citizenship entertainment, engaging activities. So many things are there. And every time the teachers are inducted into such processes. For example, right from distribution of books and seeing that, people go in autocars and go in taxis and come and all that. So all that creates a kind of a psychological inadequacy in the teacher, and therefore the high profile of the teacher, the noble profile of the teacher as one who engages with knowledge is probably getting liquidated to a certain extent. Therefore, it's very important that the profile of the teacher has got to be kept as iconic, not as someone who do all sundry clerical jobs at the call of a time. Maybe yes, if there is an absolute necessity, but it cannot be integrated into their routine work, and this will certainly make the teachers feel a little low, right? I think it's very important we address this issue.
So institution heads will have to keep this in mind when they plan the entire work for the year?
Well, I wouldn't say institution heads, because a number of institutions head work under the order of the authorities over there, because it's not their desire. So I think even a state level planning of the profile of the teacher as one who is iconic, who engages with celebration of knowledge, I think that's very important. And therefore, they need to find alternate mechanisms, especially with the kind of technology interventions we have. Most of these delivery works and other works can be handled by others, and teachers should be exclusively earmarked for delivering knowledge and enhancing the quality of an institution.
All right. So continuing with you itself, to do with the growth, facilitating growth of a teacher, do you think we should revamp the training institutes and training itself to facilitate the growth of a teacher? And if yes, how should we do it?
Well, 100%. I'm one person who is really quite unhappy with the kind of the curriculum and the kind of the resources, the inputs provided to the teacher training to make them fit for entering into a classroom. Probably we are still having curricula which are nearly 30 years, 40 years older, which are absolutely not relevant to the current age, right? With the social dynamics changing, lifestyles changing, technology interventions happening around, the seeker of knowledge feels that classroom is not the one and the only place where he gets knowledge. Now 80% of knowledge comes informally and only 20% of knowledge comes from the school system. So the responsibility of the teacher is to synergize the informal knowledge that is available outside with the formal knowledge that is being delivered in the classroom. And therefore, a lot of extra efforts have to be done by the teachers. Basically, the teachers need to think how to, deliver this one. I very often ask the teachers when I meet them, the two questions the teachers have when they enter the classroom. Why do I teach what I teach, and how do I teach what I teach? If they have answers for these two, I think they will, do better. And now with the kind of technologies like ChatGPT, Quill, and other things coming through, the entire future of education stands almost shattered, because the schools are not going to be closed, but the way that the children think, the way they will assimilate and process knowledge is going to be entirely different. Are my teachers ready for that? No. All right. Therefore, three things are important. One, the curriculum for the teacher training has got to be absolutely revised and made current and deliverable. Two, pre-entral teacher training is very important, even if they have done a B.Ed or something, before entering into an institution. Every institution has a culture. Every institution has a learning culture. Yeah. So how do you prepare them for that is important. And then having been appointed in a school, after a period of 2 years or 3 years, they increasingly become irrelevant. I always say that speed of irrelevance is more challenging than speed of relevance. So we have got to keep the teachers updated. So 3-level targeting of the training programs of the teachers is important. As I said, B.Ed, pre-entral teaching training, and then faculty improvement on a continuous basis.
All right. So 3 steps model right there for you to implement in your teaching process. Thank you, sir. Big Brain, the last question, I'll of course go back to him as well for this, but I'd like to know your thoughts first. Does a 50 hours training create an effective teacher? Is there an ideal number? Why 50 hours? Does it even make a difference?
So NEP recommends 50 hours. I don't think the number is of great sanctity. The input that the teacher requires needs to be viewed with greater seriousness than the number of hours. In fact, to add to what Sir said in the previous question, I think we should also be very fair as a nation. The quality of trainers also needs to be critically addressed. I am deeply empathetic with our teachers who go through training programs where it is extremely difficult to endure some trainers. I am honest. It is very difficult. They are sometimes so outdated, while the teacher who is attending the program to be upgraded feels, my God, you are taking me back in time. So I think that's another component that needs to be really handled carefully as the system of education is changing. That the trainer first needs to come upgraded and updated to update and upgrade the teacher. 50 hours is a number. You could change a teacher in 10 hours. You may not change or improve a teacher in 100 hours. The hours don't matter. I think it is the intent to provide the training and the manner in which that is provided which is going to be important. I think what is most important, and I would read that, is please get started. Have a concrete plan every year for teacher training in every school. How many ever hours? You will get to 50 hours, you will get to 30 hours, you will get to 20 effective hours and 30 hours which were okay. But like Sir said in the first question, don't treat that training as a 50-hour obligatory tick mark. Don't treat it like a statutory requirement saying, we have completed 50 hours of training. What's the point? So that's my view.
So your view.
Well, I think there are two important words which we normally talk about in a workstation. One is the work, the other is the skill, right? You may complete your work for 15 hours without any skill, and then you may say, I have done the job. So what happens is, it's not the 50 hours of training that's important, but what goes into the 50 hours of training that's important. Rightly said by Mr. Giri, you will find that a number of training programs are only what you call parroting of some of the concepts which are being put on the PPT, and it's a very boring situation for the teachers. Just to comply with the laws of the land, they continue to be present there, and technically, and there is no intellectual promotion. I go back to the days 50 years before, when I was a principal, when I had to address my staff members. I used to tell them, a teacher who doesn't read for 1 day is unfit to teach for 1 week. A teacher who doesn't read for 1 week is unfit to teach for 1 month. And a teacher who doesn't read for 1 month is unfit to teach for 1 year. And that was in 1977-78. Now imagine 50 years we are going through. Knowledge is getting redundant every day, right? And therefore, no organization, whatever at the government level or at the institution level, they cannot give a complete course of training to the teacher at any point of time. So 50 hours to me is absolutely an insignificant time. All that what they need, the policy, national education policy, mentions two important words which not only applies for the children, but it also applies for the teachers. It says self-learning and self-directed learning. And I think all the training program should be triggers for people to learn themselves. With 5 million teachers all across the country, if I draw a training program, even if I do a parallel processing, by the time I complete, whatever I have done becomes redundant, useless. And therefore, it's very important, we must make the teachers learn themselves, and self-learning and self-directed learning. They must choose what they have got to do. It's not that 10 topics I am going to do and everyone will lead that. Everyone has a different purpose, everyone has a different requirement, and therefore we should encourage them for self-learning and self-directed learning.
All right. Thank you to both of you for being a part of this discussion here today. My dear teachers, I am known to ask difficult questions to both of them. If you have any questions that need to be addressed, do write to me and I'll ensure that I put that question across to both of them and get you your answer. Don't go anywhere. I will be coming back with another gripping session of Bala and Bala. Do join me in the next episode. You take care.